I'll feed anybody, but I'm not for everybody. My name is Chef Derrick Green, and I find people that have turned their life's experiences into ingredients they use to feed others. We're redefining soul food. These people have turned their adversities into their advantages. This is the Sauce of Life show, and let's go.
Martinique Lewis, welcome to the Sauce of Life.
Thank you.
So, the Sauce of Life is about people that have taken their life's experiences and turned those into ingredients that they now use to feed others. It is truly about what are the things that you've had happen to you or that have happened for you that you now use to help others and feed others. With that being said, Martinique, please introduce yourself to the world.
Hi, everybody. I am Martinique Lewis. Everybody calls me Marty, and you can do the same. I am a California girl born and raised in Oakland, California, and my titles are diversity and travel consultant, host of National Geographic's Black Travel Across America, president and co-founder of the Black Travel Alliance, chief partnerships officer for the Black Travel Summit, and most importantly, creator of the ABC Travel Green Book and the ABC Travel Green Book app, the #1 digital resource connecting destinations to Black travelers and the African diaspora globally. I am totally a travel girly, but a lover of all things Black travel.
Awesome. Like, man, here I am. Let me just drop this. Like, I'm a host of the National Geographic channel for here. I host this thing, I do this thing, and I'm everywhere. Marty, you said a lot of Black stuff just then. What does it mean for you to be Black? What does that mean?
Oh, wow. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question before. What a good question. Wow. To be Black for me means to be proud of the way that I look, of the way that I've been raised, of the path that people have left before me, of the way that I'm able to spark change, of the way that I'm able to challenge thoughts, the way that I'm able to challenge systems, the way that I'm able to challenge media. It means just showing up authentically myself every chance that I get and never being ashamed of that, no matter if I want to change to a different vernacular, no matter how I want to wear my hair, no matter how I want to wear my nails, that I can always show up authentically myself and be proud of that. Being Black is like, I would say, one of the best parts of my life, because it totally is a way that I'm able to express myself and encompasses all things amazing and excellent, at least in my eyes. Such a good question. I'm gonna steal that. I'm
Such
gonna
a
start
good
asking people
answer.
that.
Look at you. Was that something that you were raised with? Was that an environment that you came from like that?
Me and my sister always joke that our mom is so Black, her last name is Black. her name is Cynthia Black, and she used to have a business called Black Stuff Too, and so she sold art from Black artists that always just had Black people in whatever they were painting. And so we grew up looking at beautiful Black people all the time. My mom would not let us play with anything but Black Barbie dolls or Black dolls. She didn't play that. If there was a Santa in the house, the Santa was Black. So we were always raised that we were beautiful Black children. We were always performing an oratorical fest that talked about the awesomeness of being Black. We always learned Black history. Like, my mom always emphasized that being Black was beautiful. It's so funny. The other day, me and my mom were at the trainers, and like an old like Frankie Beverly and May song came on, and like the trainer just couldn't believe that like I knew the song. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is what growing up in Black households are. You love the Temptations. I can sing the Temptations Christmas album front and back, right? I can sing Stevie, I can sing James, I can sing everybody. And my niece, who's 10 years old, can do the same thing. So yes, we definitely grew up with those values, that being Black was amazing, right? My mom put us in all Black schools, or, you know, she made sure like, okay, if you want to sing, I'm going to put you in this very white, you know, space, but you make sure that you show up as the Black person and complete excellence in everything that you do. So yeah, we were always raised that way. And then to add something to it, we didn't know that we were different in the sense that our dad's side of the family was Panamanian. So growing up with a Black person speaking Spanish was something that was very used to us, right? But then you go out in the world and you realize like, oh, there's a Black person who knows to speak Spanish. You're like, yeah, that's not normal. So it's kind of like, you know, a catch-22 on like, what is Blackness? But like, Blackness is so many different things. And I think we got that every step of the way growing up.
Wow. So for you, because being Panamanian, I would think that you would identify as like multicultural. Um, but you're pretty proudly Black, and you just stand on that. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is that where your love of travel comes from? Is that from your dad's side, or where did that originate?
Yeah, so my grandmother came to America in the 1950s. And she brought my aunt, and it wasn't easy for her to assimilate necessarily, because again, like, if Black people knew a different language, they called that a disability. And a lot of people don't realize that, but like, that is crazy. They're literally saying that you are mentally retarded because you're a Black person who knows how to speak Spanish. Like, it's wild, right? But obviously, just like other people, she came here to get a better life, and she did. But because she had that trek from Central America to New York first and across over to California, you have this woman who's always traveling, right? This woman who's curious, this woman who has met people from all over the place, because remember, also Panama is a port, right? So it's a port city, so people are coming in. And my grandmother's from a small town called Bocas del Toro, and it is also another huge touristy spot, but that is like almost like the Venice of Panama, if you say, because it's surrounded by water. So she always had these ideas of traveling like back and forth to different places. So she made sure that's what her kids did, and they made sure that's what their kids did. Now, my mom, she lost her father very early, and he left her money. And so what she did with that money is travel. So it's like, it's always coming full circle, because my mom and my godmother traveled so much from like the age of 27 to maybe 30, to the point where we find old pictures, and I'm like, Mom, she's like, well, I'm like, this is insane. She's like, I know. And I'm like, look at this picture. And it'd be the same exact picture. And we're like, holy crap.
What?
Or like, I'm telling you, or like, I spoke at the US Virgin Islands Tourism Summit this past summer, and I didn't know my mom had been to St. Thomas in the 70s. I knew that her and my dad had like a timeshare there, but we found that old picture of her and my aunt in St. Thomas. And I'm like, now fast forward literally 40 years later, and your daughter is giving the keynote address in this same place that you were. So it's just things like that that happen, where it's like, I feel like regardless of anything, it's just in your DNA, you know? Or like, my dad will make a comment like, you like them island men just like your mom. And I'm like, what is he talking about? She's like, see, you just telling all my business now. But you know what I mean? It's like, things are embedded in us. They're embedded in our DNA. And you know, there's a DNA gene that they say is a travel gene. And I truly believe that like our family has it.
Well, epigenetics is a powerful thing. And the more that I learn about it, the more I'm learning that things that my ancestors felt, did, loved, hated, that stuff runs through my body. And I'm beginning now to truly understand it the more and more that I study epigenetics. So yeah, there's a lot in your genes,
Yeah.
in that code. You are very comfortable being who you are. And I'm proud of you for that. From the moment that we met, it seems like you're very comfortable standing on the stage. You're very comfortable existing in your skin. Have there ever been times in your life where that has been an untrue statement, where you're not comfortable being you?
I would say no. I said we were raised to like be proud of who you are. And it doesn't mean that you're not in uncomfortable situations, but you're not uncomfortable being you. So like, for example, I sit on the board for the National Outdoor Leadership School. It's called Knowles. And I'm like one of the only Black people. So oftentimes it's like, I'm going to be the one who's talking about diversity, equity, inclusion all the time. And it's going to make other people in this room uncomfortable. They're going to be like, here she goes again. But guess who's going to be themselves and show up authentically themselves, because I need you to understand and make this program better for all the people who come through there. And so there are uncomfortable situations, but uncomfortable being myself, never.
It's one of the cool things, because so many people nowadays, there's a stigma about being an IG model, where like there's this fake life, this fake persona that they're putting out there. And at least with all of my interactions, whether publicly or privately with you, it's seen that you're such an authentic person. And man, the world, I feel, needs more of that. So I want to hand you your flowers on that. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
You just had this whole hurricane crap happen in Florida. I know it's a complete gear shift, but do you want to go into that at all? Because I think you're a very resilient person, and I think you're a very adaptive person. And maybe this is how some of these opportunities, these life opportunities, keep being presented to you.
Yeah, actually somebody interviewed me and the young lady who's the founder of the Black Travel Summit because they wanted to understand how we navigated this situation. So to make a very long story short, Black Travel Summit is a 3 to 4 day conference that happens annually to support basically the Black travel ecosystem on all levels. So media, corporate, travel agents, and we all come together to, exchange ideas, to have different panels, to basically make the future of the industry better. And we were having it in October, and we had to postpone it due to Hurricane Milton. And not because we were in the direct line of Hurricane Milton, but because some of our attendees were, because weather is so unpredictable, because we had multiple people flying over the cone where the hurricane was taking place. And so we had to make the very, very tough decision to postpone the event. And so the reason why it's such a big thing is because you have so many stakeholders, right? And you have attendees who are stakeholders, you have brands who have paid their money for sponsorship and to be there who are stakeholders, and then you have your team who has just worked so hard for the past year to make sure something is a success. And then you have this hurricane which it's saying it's not going to hit you at all, but it could, and which it's saying is going to be the worst thing. And regardless of where it says it's going to hit, people just hear that there's a hurricane coming to Florida and they're freaking out. So what do you do? And the correct answer will always be you put your stakeholders first. And that is what we decided to do. We needed to, for one, calm people down, but two, let them know that their safety was always our top priority, because it is. And it's even if we know that you are not going to be hurt, but it's your mental safety, right? Now it's your mental safety. We're going to take precedent for that. Now, that doesn't come without consequences. It means that we're going to get hit with a lot of penalties because we have to cancel last minute. It means that the price is going to go up when we're trying to find new dates, because new dates are now outside of hurricane season, and this is traditional shoulder season. So we have to come up with that money. But every day we know that we made the right choice, which was putting our people first. And some of the silver linings is because it's now, 5 days after the original dates, we got new sponsors who want to come on because now they had more time. So we're able to make up some of that money. And now more people can come because people couldn't make that date. Now we have some new speakers because some of the old speakers couldn't come. So there are some silver linings in it. And so we're just grateful for one, that everybody's alive, that everybody's well, that everybody knows that we chose them first, because that's how you build loyalty, and like I was telling you, I end up staying maybe an extra week just to make sure that all those people who were already in flight and who had already gotten to Fort Lauderdale not only had programming, but had support, because we didn't want anybody in the hotel by themselves or having to eat by themselves. And it was like, nope, we're going to all get together. It just happened to be Miami Carnival during that time. So we ended up having a good time anyways. But, having family meals, being able to go to break rooms, being able to still take Black history tours, around, making sure that there was programming and there was immensely important, because they still paid for a service regardless if it was happening or not. So I always encourage people, when something like that happens, always choose your stakeholders first.
What I loved about your story and hearing the greater details of it is that you did put the stakeholders first, and these are people that made an investment and traveled from literally all over the world to come be a part of this, and you didn't allow the hurricane to stop that for them. Those ones that actually came that you weren't able to prevent from getting on the plane, and they showed up.
Right.
They showed up, so you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is something that I wanted to explore, and this is why I asked about the hurricane. They showed up, so you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from inside of you? Like what? Because if I could get more people to understand that,
Yeah.
and to turn that on within themselves, I feel like we could have a much better society collectively. So
Yeah.
where does that come from?
I would say my grandparents, they've always taught and raised everybody, all generations to be of service. And I see that as being of service. I always tell people I take this industry so seriously that I have designated myself as the fierce protector of the Black travel ecosystem, right? Can't nobody come in and say nothing crazy about us. If something is going wrong, I'm going to try to make it right. If, a business says that they're going out of business, I'm going to call on everybody else so that we could keep it open. Because I think it's not even I think we know that we're all stronger together. So it's one of those things like if you can support somebody through a rough situation, you should, right? And it's just doing the good. But I say that to also say, my pastor used to always say, you shouldn't do work to be seen, but you should be seen doing work. And again, that is the service aspect, right? Like you're put on this earth to serve in whatever capacity that you're going to serve. And it's not like, oh, here, I'm serving you something to drink. No, it's how can I show up for you the most in your time of need and vice versa, right? How can that be reciprocated? But if it never was reciprocated, that doesn't matter because that's not why I'm here. I'm here to add value in whatever space I walk into. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that is all stems from our grandparents.
That law of reciprocity is something that some of my mentors talk about a lot. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you give, right? And it's like that giver's gain thing where you're giving first and being of service and deciding to live a life of service.
Right.
So tell me, please expand a little bit about this Black Travel Alliance and the Black travel ecosystem. And then you also have the Nat Geo show, which is about travel as well. So I'm so curious about all of it.
Yeah, so I first started in the industry as a diversity and travel consultant, specifically advocating for travel niches that were historically underrepresented. So it could have been a Black person, an Asian person, a person in a wheelchair, a pregnant woman, a family whose child has ADHD or epilepsy. It could be what we call plus size traveler. It could be a blind traveler. I was advocating for it in the space so that all travel marketing was more mindful and that destinations were more mindful about whether or not their destination is welcoming, right? Like if I'm a blind traveler and I need to get across the street, do you have the street signs that make noise, right? So that I know when it's my time to go. Or do you have groves in the street that allow me to know that the street is about to come up so I don't walk over that and so I'm not standing in the street for somebody to hit me, right? Or if I'm a hotel, do I make doorways big enough so a plus size person doesn't have to turn to the side to walk into the door? Do I make sure that my furniture is steady and stable? Or, if I'm also a hotel, do I also, along with the Bible and the Book of Mormon, have a Book of Quran? Because I know that Muslim travelers spend more than any other travel segment in this earth and that they have to pray 5 times to Mecca. So is there an arrow on the ceiling that lets them know which way Mecca is, right? So I just wanted people to think in this way because I feel like travel and tourism has no face. Everybody travels. Everybody is a tourist. So why isn't the industry reflective of that? But what started happening also was that I was traveling into some destinations and realizing there was a Black population and thinking, oh my gosh, why have I never heard about this Afro-Ecuadorian community in the Esmeraldas? This is not what people think when they think of Ecuador. Hell, when they go to Paris, they're not thinking of Black people. It was one of those things where I'm like, something has to change here because systematically we're always left out of the equation. However, I know the way that Black travelers spend. And so I decided to do more within the Black travel ecosystem. In 2020, myself and 17 other people started the Black Travel Alliance. And initially, we were only supposed to be like a social media movement. And it was after all of those brands posted for Blackout Tuesday. And we just could not believe it. Like, we're appalled. Like, this hotel brand posted a Black square and they've never hired us. They don't show us in their media and marketing. They don't even hire Black people in their, corporate C-level positions. Like, how dare they do that? And I remember saying to them, like, so what are we going to do about it? And so we started this campaign called the Pull Up for Travel, where we wanted destinations and brands to tell us the numbers in terms of how many Black people do you have on your team? Because this proves right here whether or not you're serious about this. And then it sparked into so many other things. So year to date, we have over 3,000 members across 57 countries. We've given out over $100,000 in scholarships to Black travel businesses, to Black travel creators who need things like a new camera, who wants to go to a travel conference like the one we were at when I met you, but, didn't necessarily have the money. We gave out 5 tickets for that, paid for some people's hotels. So we are specifically in the industry to support Black travel media. So photographers, videographers, journalists, content creators, influencers, drone pilots, travel advisors, all of them, to be the best that they can be by giving them the knowledge and resources they need to level up their skill set. And so I love what I do. I'm the president. We have multiple different things, multiple different programming that we've put in. Black Travel Summit is part of that. We have something called Creators Weekend, where right now there's 10 creators and 2 experts in Jordan, exploring Jordan so that people can know what Jordan is like as a Black person. And so that Jordan, the actual tourism board, now has all of this media with Black people in it. So if they say we want more Black people to come, well, we have to see ourselves reflected, because we're 70% more likely to go to destinations and spend money with brands where we see ourselves reflected in the media. So yeah, we do so many different things. And then the National Geographic show came about so crazy. I was in Turkey for a press trip, and I remember getting the email and saying to myself, like showing my friend, like, somebody is playing on my email talking about their National Geographic, they have a show idea. And she was like, no, look at the email, like it's actually National Geographic. And I'm like, what? And so they found me because of my hashtag. So I had already been talking about Black owned businesses around the world and been talking about the Green Book, because I created a new version of the Green Book in 2020. And so when I got on the phone with them, they're like, you're the
People may not know what the Green Book is.
Okay. So the Green Book was something that was in publication from 1936 to 1966, and it was created by Victor and Alma D. Green. They were postal workers who were inspired by a book for Jewish people in the Catskills, a tour guide or tourist book. And so what the Green Book displayed was not only Black owned businesses like hotels, service stations, tourist homes, everything that you would need on a trip, but it also gave you businesses that were welcoming to Black people, because you have to remember, during this time, Black people were not safe driving while Black up and down Route 66. So like, for example, my mom's family from Tennessee, but they all lived in California. They would have to drive from Tennessee to California. They needed to know where to stop if they could, because if they couldn't, they literally had to ride through the nights because of sundown towns, which were towns where the sun went down. Black people should have not been there because they could literally lose their lives. So the Green Book was absolutely instrumental in keeping Black people safe and keeping Black people alive when traveling. So in 2020, I took the same concept and I did something called the ABC. ABC stands for All Black Content Travel Green Book. And I took the same concept from Victor and Alma Green, but now I did it for the world. In 2020, even in 2024, Black travelers still want to connect culturally, but really safely in any destination, to make sure that we see people who look like them. When people think about Alaska, they're not thinking about Derrick Green and this amazing restaurant that he has, because this is not, traditionally been promoted, right? They don't know about Eva's Cupcakes. They don't know about what Joe Bella's done in the museum to show different Black Alaskans. They have no idea there are Black Alaskans in the North Pole. They only think Santa Claus. So I wanted to make sure that I bridged that gap, because for one, we should know how to find each other wherever we go, because for one, it's safety, right? Like if I was in Alaska and I didn't meet you, I wouldn't feel that safe. But I'm like, I know who I can call if I have a problem, right? I know who I could call if I want some good cakes. I know where I could go if I want to eat some good food, right? But even more so, it was also how to keep the Black travel dollar circulating, because Black travelers spend so much money. The number that I will say is not updated, and I want to say the new number, but we haven't released the data yet. But the number that people knew about is $109.4 billion annually, which African Americans alone spent, right? So it's like, if you're spending that much money and destinations aren't even promoting their destination or showing a business like yours, right? Think about how much money they're leaving on the table because they're not doing that. And I recognize that gap. And I'm like, not only do you need to keep the Black travel dollar circulating, but this is now group economics. You know that there's this Black-owned restaurant in Alaska, and I'm going to tell you that, and now you're going to go and you're going to support him too, and you're going to put Alaska on your list because there's people who look like you know where to find them, and you know how to support or patronize their businesses. And so that's why I created the ABC Travel Green Book. It did massively well. It was in 2020 though, so any book that came out about Black anything was going to do well. But I also had to realize just that the future of travel is technology. So then I did the app. And, you know, it kicks my butt every day. Don't get me wrong, but I absolutely love doing that because I'm right under like 20,000 users. People recommend businesses all the time in places that you might not think that there's Black people. Like I was on a cruise in Norway and there was a Black owned bakery, and you would never know he's there, but now everybody knows he's there because I put it in the app, right? But the app has over 170,000 listings, way more than the book, and it's just like a celebration of Black culture. On the first of every month, we release how to support Black-owned events globally. So, for example, this whole month is Black Consciousness Month in Brazil. On the 8th of November is Afro-Argentine Day, and you can go to Buenos Aires and take a Black History tour. On the 19th of November, there's something called Garifuna Settlement Day, and the Garifuna community is Black communities who you find on the coast of Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. And they have their own language. They all have the same colors, and you can find them in any place that normally is called Punta Gorda. But like I'm doing a trip with Belize Tourism to go to their Garifuna Settlement Day in a place called Dangriga, which is also in Belize. But this is, you know, where you find this community. So we want to make sure. But there's also like R&B on Ice that's happening in Charlotte, or, you know, the Jollof Festival, or there's the Afro Beats and Sounds that's happening in Melbourne, Australia, that towards the end of the month. You know, there's Afrotech happening in Houston. So I just want people to know. I want people to connect, because not only that, the one thing that destinations don't realize is that when Black people travel for an event, our economic impact is so large. And it's like, if y'all only now took that and you start promoting this event in your airports, right? Or if you started partnering with these events so you can get even more Black people to come in, that's exactly why the app was created. So the app makes money because travel destinations pay us to promote their destination or whatever Black event is happening within our app. So when somebody goes to explore page, like you'll see how to spend a day in Black-owned British Virgin Islands, right? Or how to spend a day in Black-owned Alaska. We're just waiting on the footage now, but you know, so more people can find it. But you know, I have been working really hard for the past 2 years on the app, constantly trying to raise money because I wanted to be on the phone of every Black person in the world. You know, I want to be the #1 app in the app store in the next 3 to 5 years. People are like, well, what about Uber? I'm like, what about it? I'm like, I can have, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can have it better than that. They're like, what about TripAdvisor? I'm like, what about it? I'm like, Black people make this world go round undeniably. And I'm like, I want us to be able to find each other. So I work really hard on that too. But yeah, that's just some of the ways that I would say I impact the Black travel ecosystem. But there is not a day or a moment that does not go by where I'm trying to uplift people in this space or make sure somebody knows about somebody else. I love what I do. I eat, breathe, sleep, all of it Black travel. And I'm just grateful, you know, because that's the path that I'm on. And if you would have asked me even 10 years ago what my purpose in life was, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. I tell people all the time who are like going crazy, and I'm like, I did not find my passion until I was 30 years old. And once it happened, then I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer, because I came from the fashion industry. That's why I'm always so dressed, because I came out of the fashion industry, but I wasn't happy. It wasn't my passion, right? It was what I learned how to do. It was my trade. But once I got to travel, that was actually my passion. And so I'm always grateful to be here. Every day, I'm trying to make sure that whatever legacy I leave is impactful and it's great, but that it shows group economics, that it shows that I was never here for myself, but always to amplify other Black-owned businesses and make sure that I connect the dots, because I want to be a connector in this space, and I am a connector in this space. When people want to know how to find any Black-owned businesses in Japan, they go to that app or they call me. When they want to find the Black-owned businesses in Brazil, they go to the app or they call me. When they're like, we need people to speak to, we're doing this thing, they call me. So I've established myself that way in the travel industry, and I'm extremely proud of that. There are a lot of hard
right now is listening to this and going, well, what's the name of the app?
Oh, the app is the ABC Travel Green Book app. So it's just like the book, and you can still buy the book on Amazon, but it doesn't have the depth that the app has, right? Like when you self-publish on Amazon, they limit you to the amount of pages before they really start taking money. So, but me understanding like that the app, just like the original Green Book, would have to be updated every year. It's just easier to turn it into something that, you know, you can either go on a website and find or go on your phone and find.
Okay. Tell me this.
Mhm.
You've been all over this world seeing communities like literally, I don't know if you've been to all 7 continents yet, but
I have.
oh, look at you. Given that you're going and you're experiencing all these various communities, all these various cultures, the foods, the dance, the music, the all of it. Is it equal? Do you think to be like is being black viewed the same way around the planet? Right? There are places in, like you mentioned, your family traveling in the 50s and 60s, not knowing where were the sundown towns, where were the safe places to stop and rest their head. Is that the same way across the planet, or is there some place where I can go raise my kids without them or without me having to worry about them experiencing negativity directed specifically because of the color of their skin?
I mean, Africa, and that's why you see so many Black expats going to places in West Africa. You see so many Black expats going to places in Mexico, specifically Mexico City, also the Tulum area. You see a lot of Black expats also going to Panama. And then surprisingly, a lot of them go to Ecuador to an area called Cuenca and Guayaquil. And it's a huge community of like retired Black people. And it's like, why here? You start seeing an uptick of a lot of Black people. Well, a lot of them go also to Colombia, but specifically like Medellin, not really Cartagena, but tons of them are starting to move to Santa Marta, which is about 40-minute 45-minute plane ride from Bogota, but like a 3-hour drive from Cartagena. And they're starting to go there in the drove loads. So it's because they're welcome there. It's easy to survive there as a Black person. Your kids can go to school there, get a great education, and no, you don't experience that same racism that you experience in the US or the UK or Europe. So yeah, but racism exists everywhere, like we know, but to be able to go places and not worry, I would say those are the top recommendations.
I'm incredibly proud of you.
Thank
Just so you
you.
know,
Thank
just so you
you.
know, I'm sitting here just happy, filled with joy
Thank you.
that
Thank you so much.
you and others that you've inspired exist. That group that you brought up here with the Black Tribal Alliance, I really enjoyed y'all's company because you guys have experienced a world that so many people just dream of.
Mhm.
Or one of the things that I love is the clarity of purpose that you guys have. There wasn't a person there that says something general like, "Oh, I just want to travel." It's like, no, everybody, yes, you want to travel, but you're gonna go here, 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 here. Like you gain that specificity as you go. Where haven't you traveled that you absolutely want to?
Hmm, this is a good question. Where haven't I traveled? Oh, well, so Africa has 54 countries. I've been to maybe 8. I'm like, I am trying to check off every single country in Africa, but I also want to show the luxurious side of Africa. There are so many places in Africa that are better than the Maldives, that are better than Tahiti, that have the same things there, but they don't get the mainstream, media attention, like the Seychelles, like Mauritius, like Lamu, Kenya, like the Comoros. Like there are so many places in Africa that are just as beautiful, that don't get that same thing. I just telling somebody the other day, Rwanda is the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Like, oh my gosh, from riding just on the side of the road, just looking at the country. Everything is so green. Everything, the people are so beautiful. The animals are beautiful. Like I just could not believe, and it's called Land of a Thousand Hills, and there's so many hills, but there's so many just beautiful aspects of it. No matter if you're in the jungle with the gorillas, no matter if you're on Lake Kivu, no matter if you're deep in the space where you really can't even drive a car through there because it's just like mountainside. Like Rwanda is so beautiful and it's untapped, and that's why it's beautiful, because can't nobody mess with it, right? But I mean, it's just so many experiences like that I've had in Africa where I'm just like, this is breathtaking. There's a place in South Africa called the Cradle of Humanity, which is supposed to be where the Bible's like where Adam and Eve are from, right? And I remember I was sitting at a friend's house because there was an art show there, and we're at his house, and there's like the art gallery to the right. And then we like look out, and I'm like, is that a zebra? And he's like, yes. And the zebra's just like casually walking through his yard. And I'm like, what the like, I just couldn't believe it. And I like, and everybody just thought this was normal, right? And I'm like, and I'm just looking around like, nobody thinks this is just like wild right now. But like, there's so many instances that I have like that throughout all of Africa where I'm just like, this is beautiful. Or like, I dated a Nigerian and he took me to his village, and for a week, I didn't have a mailman. I didn't have cell phone service. There were no clocks. It was just freaking fantastic just to be in the village with everybody. You wake up at 5 a.m. because the chickens are up and there's people looking in your window telling you to get up. There's no concept of time, right? If you want chicken for dinner, you're going and you're killing it and you're cooking it and you're eating it. Like, it was so beautiful to me because I'm like, these people don't have a care in the world because they don't have to, right? And it's like, you can go 30 minutes down the road and yeah, there's the city, right? But I'm just like, this is what it means to have community. This is what it means to have family. I will never forget this is my ex. He was an avid runner, and so am I. And he's like, let's run in the village. So we're running. It's like 100 degrees. There's nothing but hills. My legs are covered in red dust from the dirt. It's dirt roads all up hills. And his like 40-year-old cousin is running in jeans and no shoes. It's a female, and she's way faster than I am. And I'm just looking at her like, and she's like, come on. And I'm like, and I'm like dying here, right? Like, we're sweating, we're having a pub. She's just like, no shoes, jeans. It's just like, come. And I'm like, and we ran for like 5 miles. And I was like,
what are you on?
I'm like, bruh, I need that. Like, I need her diet. I need whatever water she's drinking. Like, but it's just so beautiful. And so I feel like I have those, I feel like I have nothing but those type of experiences when I get to Africa. So yeah, that is like definitely places that I'm like, I gotta like go. I've never been to China. I've been to Asia, but never China. I definitely want to do that at some point in time. There are tons of islands in the Caribbean that I have not been to.
I thought you were going to say there's tons of Black people in China, and my mind was literally about to blow up.
Well, I mean, there is Little Lagos. That's in Hong Kong, where you'll find a ton of Nigerians. There are more Black people in Japan than there are in China. But yeah, we are everywhere. Like, for sure. We are everywhere, and we are thriving everywhere. I think probably the most like underrated place where people don't know that there's Black people on that side of the world. It's like there's a Black Greek community that like were born and raised in Greece that have been there for like centuries, but they're like all the way like northeastern. And it's just like, what? Or you find like Afro Turks, where you're like, wow, like, what are they doing here? And then you learn the story like, oh, well, such and such, they had indentured servants and they stayed here and they had kids and this, and you're like, dang, you're like, Black people really are everywhere. So yeah, you'll find us everywhere.
Nobody messes with you for being American?
Messes with me, no. But treats me better than Africans from Africa, yes, which I hate. I was just telling somebody earlier, because they were asking about intersectionality in travel, and I was like, to be a Black woman traveling from America is oftentimes really, really annoying because people think I'm a prostitute all the time. If I just happen to be walking next to a white man because he's like another travel influencer and we're, in northern Italy in a small community and we're eating dinner, they think that I'm a prostitute because I'm dressed nice. And I'm like, I can't just be a regular ass person, huh? Like, I gotta be a prostitute. Like, got it. So those are things that happen to me all the time. And that's like part of the reason why I started diversity in travel, or being a diversity and travel consultant, because I needed people to understand the lens of people at every stage of, travel, and based off of what they look like, how they're treated. Or I'll never forget in Italy, one time this man just came up to me and just started cussing me out. And I was looking around like, what is he talking about? I remember this lady like came to my aid, and she was like, he's mad because he says you guys come over here and you guys are messing up the city by being in here. And she's like, he thinks that you are African. He doesn't know you're American. And I'm just like, okay. So you know what I mean? Like you
Wow.
get it all the
Yeah,
time. This is just what black people go through. And same thing happened to black men. You know, it's a negative connotation that they're dangerous or that they're prostitutes or that they're rappers or black, you know, or basketball players. I
I
mean,
get that.
you saw Phil and imagine us traveling and we've been to 6 continents together and he always gets asked like, oh, what sport do you play? And I'm like, what if he didn't play a sport at all? You know what I mean? It's just like these preconceived notions. And until he opens their mouth, they don't realize how silly he is. But you know what I mean? Like it's just these negative stereotypes that people have. So yeah, it gets really interesting. But that's why I think Black representation is so important. And this is why I love going into a lot of places because I help change some of those preconceived notions. And people are like, oh my gosh, this is how all Black Americans are. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So we have that opportunity to do that in a way that we've never done it before as Black travelers with an American passport. We can get just to about anywhere. So,
You know, your personality, first, I want to just point out for everybody that watches this episode is that what you've clearly articulated is that you will encounter racism, you'll encounter negativity, you'll encounter, you know, the need to battle stereotypes no matter where you go, but you don't let that stop you at all. Your personality is one of vibrance, exuberance, and just like passion about traveling and experiencing things and seeing new people and always seeing new sights because it can become overwhelming all the time just thinking about, oh, this population doesn't like me. Oh, these people think that I'm this way or that way. And
right.
you know, you kind of just like beat yourself up, but you're just like, oh, bump all that. I'm going to, I'm going to Belize. I'm going to here. By the way, let me just state clearly, if you need somebody to carry your bags, if Phil won't doing his job, you just let me know.
I got you.
I'll be quiet. You ain't got to worry about nothing. All you, yes, ma'am. Where we going?
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I got you. But yeah, remember I said I'm never uncomfortable being me, but there are sometimes uncomfortable situations, but I just show up authentically myself. So
no, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm actually going to send this as soon as we're done. I'm going to send this to my nieces and nephews because they haven't experienced a life that you're living, and they look at it and think that it's out of their reach. And the amazing thing is they live in the same state of Florida as you do. But because they haven't left their town and experienced different mindsets, they don't know that they can go see a world, the same world that you've gone to. And you've inspired me. I literally now want to go to Rwanda.
Oh my God, you have to go.
I'm snowbirding this winter. And so you don't see my notebook, but I wrote it down right here. Because I went to Uganda earlier this year. And it was such a cultural shock for me to go there. Africa is beautiful. And it's not what, because I come from that same environment as my nieces and nephews. It's not what they've shown us on TV, right? It's not. That's propaganda for, you know, the socialization that they desire, but that's not the reality of this world. Right. And then when I talk with people from around the world, the different experiences that I get, it's just a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you for exposing people to different ways of life and this beautiful paradigm, this beautiful mindset that you and other travelers have as y'all go around the world. And yeah, anyway, I'm just thankful for you. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I try to keep these at around 45 minutes, no longer than an hour. So, what is something that you wish people would ask you, but they never do?
Oh, you have great questions. I don't know. The people that I wish somebody would ask me, but they never do. I do know. I want people to ask me how my day is.
Okay, as a person who actually cares and will genuinely listen, Marty, how's your day?
Today has been a good one. It's been a little tough. It's been a little packed, but it's been a good one. And the reason I say that is because I do so much every day for so many other people. And there's one person who always asks me how my day is. And I'm like, thank you. Because maybe today wasn't a good day. But nobody has ever just asked me, like, how's your day today? And I really just enjoy that because it means somebody's intentional about how I really feel, right? Or if I need help, or, if there was something, like you said, they could do for me or help me through. And so I wish people would just ask me, how was your day today? And I just be like, thank you so much for asking. And then I'll just, give you a million things in an hour and then I'll let you go. No, I'm just playing. But yes, somebody simply asked you, like, how are you doing? Like, that's really, really important. You know how people say, like, check on your strong friends? It's true. Like, check on the people who you think, like, are just doing good, because sometimes they just need to get it out, or there is something that you can help with. So yeah, just how my day is.
I'm sitting here and I'm hoping it's not coming through on camera, but I'm actually it's such an impactful question and a conversation to be had when somebody says, how are you doing? Or how was your day? And they listen. And on this day, like what you said, check on your strong friends. One of my strongest friends, who's an influencer, has a very successful career, changing and impacting lives of people, like thousands of people. But he reached out today because he needed to get some stuff off his chest. He's like, man, I just need to vent. I just need to talk. We're on Friday, so it's been at least once a day that I had a conversation like this. And thank you for saying that, because it's a reminder to me to not only wait for people to reach out to me, but to reach back out. Marty, how you doing today?
Yeah.
So cool beans. Marty, where can people find you?
Yes. So on social media, you can find me at Marty_San Diego. And then the business page is at ABC Travel Green Book. On LinkedIn, you can find me Martinique Lewis. My personal website is martysandiego.com. And the business website is abctravelnetwork.com.
Where in the world is Marty San Diego?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Final question, madam. If this were the last time that you and I spoke, or the only time that someone from our audience got to hear you speak, what would you want us to walk away with?
I would want you to walk away with me saying, get your passport and know that the world is your oyster. Because I want everybody to travel. And I understand that some people are scared. I understand that people don't come from families who travel, but get your passport and explore. Because what happens when you travel is you find yourself and you learn so much about the type of person who you are because of the way that you travel. So get your passport and go.
Wow. Wisdom. Get your passport and go. Martinique Lewis, Miss Marty, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, you have a beautiful day, madam.
Thank you. You too.